Hello everyone, good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to UN Digital Class. Today I am going to discuss some of the parts relating to Sale of Goods Act. The first one is that is relating to transfer of ownership, and the second one is unpaid seller and rights of an unpaid seller. So first we are going to discuss what is transfer of ownership and what are the rules relating to transfer of ownership. Then we will switch over to unpaid seller and rights of unpaid seller. So transfer or passing of property. A contract of sale can be performed by two ways. One is property in goods or ownership of goods, and second one is possession of goods. So a person may have possession of goods but he may not be the owner. That means he may be a servant or agent. On the other hand, a person may be the owner but he may not have the possession of goods. So in contract of sale, when the ownership of goods is transferred to buyer from seller, he becomes the owner of the goods. So relating to transfer of property or transfer of ownership or passing of property, we already know that in a contract of a sale, goods must be transferred from the hands of the seller to the hands of the buyer. So when goods becomes transferred, then the buyer becomes the possession of the goods and can enjoy by himself or herself. So possession and transfer of ownership, these are two different words and having different meaning. A person may be the owner of the goods but he may not be the possession of the goods, and in the latter case a person may be the possession of the goods but he may not be the owner of the goods. So when a person becomes the owner of the goods but not the possession of the goods, that indicates that goods belongs to seller. And when a person becomes the owner of the goods and not become the possession, then in that case goods belongs to seller. And when person becomes the possession of the goods or the person becomes the owner of the goods, and in that case we assume that goods is not transferred to the buyer and that is in the hands of the seller. So when ownership or the property is transferred from the hands of the seller to the hands of the buyer, we say that there is a case of passing of property, or ownership is transferred or goods is transferred from the hands of the seller to the hands of the buyer. So as per general rule, the transfer of ownership depends upon the intention of the parties to the contract, but sometimes the intention of the parties cannot be ascertained from the contract, and in that case the intention of the parties is ascertained on the basis of the provision laid down under section 18 to 24 of sale of goods. And these provisions are as: in case of unascertained goods, that is mentioned under section 18 and 23. In case of specific goods, that is mentioned under section 20 to 22. And in case of goods sold on sale on approval or return basis, that is mentioned under section 24. So generally transfer of ownership depends upon the possession of the goods or that goods becomes transferred. So on the basis of a contract of the sale, the ownership is transferred, and that becomes transferred when the goods are ascertained. If the buyer and seller, they are not in a proper position, or they are not making a contract of a sale, or both intention is not to sell or purchase of the goods, in that case goods cannot be transferred. So only when that is transferred or when it is ascertained, in that case the goods become transferred from seller to buyer, and in that case there are certain provisions or rules apply relating to the transfer of a property, and that rule is divided into three categories. One is relating to unascertained goods, second one is relating to ascertained or specific goods, and the third one is goods returned on sale or approval basis. So we will discuss one by one. In case of unascertained goods, what is the rules relating to transfer of property? That is mentioned under section 18 of the Sale of Goods Act. So as per section 18 of the Sale of Goods Act, the unascertained goods are not transferred unless the goods are ascertained. These goods are not specifically identified at the time of a contract of a sale. It is identified and is set apart for the purpose of delivering to the buyer. So first we will discuss what is unascertained goods. Unascertained goods are those goods which is not ascertained. So when the goods are not ascertained, in that case seller is not ready to transfer or sell the property to the buyer. So only when the goods are ascertained, the property will be transferred or ownership is transferred. So in case of unascertained goods, there are certain provisions will apply, and that must have been followed at the time of a sale of goods. The first one is the intention of the parties that have to be taken into consideration. Under section 19, the transfer of ownership depends upon the intention of both the parties, and ownership transfer from the seller to the buyer at the time fixed by the parties. So we must have to take into consideration the intention of the both the parties. That means in sale of goods, the buyer and seller intention should be judged first. If their intention is taken into consideration, or their intention is to sell the goods, in that case goods have been transferred from the hands of the seller to the hands of the buyer. Unless and until that is ascertained, the goods cannot be transferred. The second one is unascertained or future goods. Under section 23 of the Sale of Goods Act, in sale of unascertained or future goods, goods are passed to the buyer by description. So when goods of that description in a deliverable state are unconditionally appropriate to the contract, then the property in goods passes to the buyer. So unascertained means that is not identified, which is called as a future goods. That means the goods will be transferred at a future date subject to by description. When the goods of that description that is in a deliverable state, in that case the property is transferred from seller to buyer. Then the second rule relating to transfer of property in case of a specific goods. So first we have to clear about what is specific goods. So that is mentioned under section 20. The section 20 specifies that the goods are deliverable state and the ownership transferred from the seller to the buyer at the time of making a contract of sale. So specific goods means the goods are clearly identified. So when the goods are clearly identified, in that case there will be no problem. The goods are easily transferred from seller to buyer. That means the goods are already in a deliverable state. That means the goods becomes deliverable. So in that case, immediately the goods are specified, the property or the goods must be transferred from seller to the buyer. So for that there are certain provisions. First one is when the seller has something to do. That is mentioned under section 21. So under section 21, in case of a sale of a specific goods, if the goods are not in a deliverable state and the seller has to do something to put the goods in a deliverable state, the ownership does not pass unless and until such thing is done and buyer has notice thereof. So that means this specifies that the goods has something to do. That means the goods are not in a deliverable state. So when the goods are not in a deliverable state and the seller has to do something relating to that goods to put in the goods into deliverable state. That means the goods are not actually to deliverable. So it is not in a deliverable state. So the seller must have to do something to put the goods into deliverable stage. So when that is put into deliverable state, the ownership does not pass unless and until the goods are not deliverable state or that is not specified. So such thing is done and buyer must have to notice relating to that. The second one is when goods are to be measured or tested. Under section 22, in case of a contract of a sale of a specific goods and the goods are in deliverable state, but seller has to wait, measure, test or perform some other act or thing with reference to the goods for ascertaining the price, the ownership does not pass unless and until such act or thing is done and the buyer has notice thereof. So goods are specified, but that is not measured, tested or anything, that is not done. So when goods are in a deliverable state but that is not clearly identified or the goods are not measured, the particular quality is not identified, their price is not ascertained or anything is not done, unless and until such thing is done, the seller cannot transfer the goods to the buyer. And if the buyer has not make any notice relating to that, in that case also the goods becomes in the hands or possession of the seller and that is not transferred. That act is not done. If that is completed, then buyer has a notice thereof and after that the goods has been transferred to the buyer. The third one is transfer of property in case of a sale on approval. So this is known as goods sent on sale or return basis. So first one is certain provision, that the first provision relating to goods sent on approval. In case of a sale on approval, or sell or return basis, the buyer has an option to return the goods to the seller within a reasonable period of time. So when goods are sell or goods are on condition of approval position or return basis, sell or return basis, in that case the seller within a reasonable period of time the take into consideration or the buyer has an option to return the goods within that specified time or a reasonable time. Hence the ownership is transferred to the buyer when he accepts the goods. So within that specified period of time, when the buyer accepts that goods, the seller transfer that and buyer becomes the owner of the goods. If the buyer does not return the goods within the reasonable time, if that is in return stage, that means the buyer does not return back that goods within particular period of time, in that case the seller has also take into consideration that the goods becomes in the hands of the buyer and he becomes the owner or possession of that goods. So the seller can recover the price of the goods from the buyer. So in that case when the buyer not return that goods, seller confirm that that is with the hands of the buyer, so seller immediately take back or recover the price of the goods what he has transferred to the buyer. So in that case, if that is on sale or approval, the ownership to the buyer is transferred in three ways. So when goods are sale on approval basis or sale on return basis, in that case there are three ways the ownership is transferred to the buyer. The first one is when the goods are accepted by the buyer, that means when buyer immediately accept that goods, in that case the ownership is also transferred. The second one is when buyer performs some act which indicates implied acceptance, that means buyer does not accept that but showing an intention to accept that, in that case seller confirms that the ownership is transferred, and as soon as when buyer implied any such acceptance, then seller transfer the ownership to the buyer. And the third one is when the buyer fails to return the goods within a reasonable time, that means goods are already delivered to the buyer and that is on sale or return basis, but within a reasonable time or specified time the buyer not showing his intention to return back the goods, and in that case seller confirms that the ownership is transferred and the property will be transferred to the buyer, immediately the ownership is belongs to buyer. So under section 24, when goods are sold under a contract of sale or return or on approval, the sale is called as a conditional sale, as it is a case of a sale on approval basis or sale on return basis, so that is known as conditional sale, and as a result of significance the buyer's approval, the goods will pass to the buyer. So in that case approval of the buyer must be considered, and when buyer signifies his approval, then seller provides that goods or the goods belongs to the hands of the buyer. So the next one is reservation of right of disposal. Under section 25, the reservation of right of disposal is defined as an action made by the seller. So when one action is made by the seller and where it is expressed that an intention on his part not to part with control over the goods until certain conditions are fulfilled, then the property will be passed subject to fulfillment of the condition. The seller shows his condition or intention, and when the fulfillment of that condition is made, immediately seller transfer the property to the buyer and the buyer becomes the ownership of the goods. So these are the some of the conditions or the rules relating to passing of property in a different case, that is on certain goods, specific goods and goods sold on sale or return basis. So the next part relating to Sale of Goods Act, that is known as performance of contract of a sale. So what is that? Performance of contract of sale means as regards seller the delivery of goods to the buyer, and as regards buyer the acceptance of a delivery of goods and payment for them in accordance with the term of the contract of a sale. So that is mentioned under section 31 of the Sale of a Goods Act. So performance of contract relating to Sale of a Goods Act, a contract is performed when both the parties fulfill the terms and the condition mentioned in the agreement or mentioned in the contract. So in case of a Sale of a Goods Act, performance of a contract signifies that when seller transfer or deliver the goods to the buyer and the buyer accept that goods and makes immediate performance or immediate payment, in that case from the hands of the seller there is no complaint, and from the hands of the buyer there is also no issues. That means seller immediately transfer and a buyer immediately accept that and makes immediate payment. So both the parties have performed their respective duties and obligation. There is nothing left from either side, and in that case we said that the performance of a contract of sale is made. So when performance of contract of sale is made, in that case the goods is known as delivery of goods. So what is that delivery of goods? So delivery means voluntary transfer of possession of goods from one person to another. So delivery signifies, or the meaning of a delivery indicates that when the goods possessed from one hand that is transferred to another, or there is a case of a voluntary transfer of ownership or possession of the goods from one person to another, that is becomes, or that is known as delivery of goods. That means goods are transferred, or the possession is in the hands of the seller and that possession is transferred to the hands of the buyer, and in that case that is known as delivery of goods. That delivery is of three types. One is your actual delivery, second one is symbolic delivery, and third one is constructive delivery. So the delivery of goods that is mentioned under section 33 of Sale of Goods Act. So what is actual delivery? Actual delivery is occurred in case of goods delivered themselves physically to the buyer. That means when goods are physically delivered or transferred from the hands of the seller to the hands of the buyer, that is known as actual delivery. The second one is symbolic delivery. So here the goods are not actually delivered, but that is delivered by way of a certain instruction or symbol. So symbolic delivery is occurred where the goods are not physically delivered but delivered by indicating or giving a symbol. So example is delivery of a document of a title to the goods. The goods are not delivered physically, that is not delivered to the buyer, but symbolically, that means certain instruction or symbol is made relating to the goods for delivery, and that is known as symbolic delivery. So when document of a title relating to the goods that becomes transferred or that becomes delivered, this is known as symbolic delivery. The third one is constructive delivery. So constructive delivery is occurred where the third person acknowledges the holding of the goods on behalf of the buyer. That means the goods are neither in the hands of the seller or nor in the hands of the buyer, or not transferred to the buyer, but that becomes in the possession of the third party, and the third party transfer the goods to the buyer on instruction made by the seller. That is known as constructive delivery. So there is one example here, it is mentioned: A sold to B 50 bags of tea, where P holds bags which is a warehouse, and it is ordered by A to P to do so. Here A wants to sell, so A is the seller and A wants to sell to B, B is the buyer, and there is 50 bags of tea, but that 50 bags of tea is becomes in the hands of the third party which is known as P. So here A instruct to P to transfer 50 bags of tea to B, and that is known as constructive delivery. So instruction is made by the seller to the third party to transfer the goods to the buyer, and that is known as constructive delivery. So then we are going to discuss what are the rules relating to delivery of goods. At the time of a delivery of goods or transfer of goods from one hand to another, whether may be physical delivery or maybe symbolic delivery or constructive delivery, there are certain rules that must have been followed. So the first one is mode of delivery. In which mode the goods are transferred, that must have been considered. The goods may be transferred or delivered in three ways: either physically or symbolically or constructive. So that is known as mode of delivery. Second one is delivery and payment are concurrent conditions. So in relation to delivery of goods, the one is the goods must be delivered, and when goods are delivered the payment must be made. So delivery and payment both are concurrent condition, that means simultaneously the goods are delivered and a payment must be made. So as per section 32 payment of a price and delivery of a goods is concurrent condition unless otherwise agreed. If there is no such agreement or there is no such condition or terms, in that case when goods are delivered, immediately the payment must be made relating to that delivery of a goods. So the rule, that means the delivery and payment both are concurrent, both are simultaneously affected. If the buyer is not willing to pay the price, no delivery will be given. So where there is concurrent delivery and payment, and if the buyer is not willing to pay the price of the goods, in that case the delivery will not be made, or no need to pay the price by the buyer unless the seller is ready and willing to give, as well as from the hands of the seller. If the seller is not ready and not willing to deliver the goods, in that case buyer has no right to claim the delivery of the goods. So both side the condition must be fulfilled, and in that case delivery is made and payment also made. The third one is effect of part delivery. So what is that rule? Under section 34, a part of delivery of a goods may be equal to the delivery as whole. So if any part of a goods is delivered, so delivery of a part signifies that delivery of a whole, unless and until any such terms and condition that is specified. So if it is no, or if it is so intended and agreed by both the parties, so in that case delivery of a part signifies delivery of a whole. The fourth rule, buyer must to apply for delivery. That means at the time of a delivery of a goods, the goods are delivered from seller to buyer. So buyer must apply for delivery of a goods. If buyer does not show his intention to a delivery of a goods or become the possession of the goods, seller is not ready to transfer that immediately. So the buyer must give instruction to deliver the goods. So under section 35, the seller is not bound to deliver the goods unless agreed otherwise till the buyer applies for delivery. Unless and until the buyer applies, the seller will not deliver. The fifth one is place of delivery, that is mentioned under section 36 subsection I. The place is the delivery is to be made will be mentioned in the agreement between the parties. So the buyer and the seller must have been make agreement during the time of a delivery of goods, and they must have to indicate the actual place or the suitable place, which is decided both by the buyer as well as the seller, and that place is the place of a delivery of a goods. Apart from any such contract, the goods will be delivered at the place at which they are sold. If there is no such terms and condition or contract relating to place of goods, so as per the convenient, the seller place or the actual place where it is sold, that place is called as the place of a delivery of a goods. Then apart from place, there is one rule that is relating to time of delivery, that is mentioned under section 36 subsection 2 and subsection 4 of the Sale of a Goods Act, where the seller is bound to send the goods to the buyer, but no time for sending them is fixed. Seller is bound to send them within a reasonable time and at a reasonable hour. So goods must be transferred within a reasonable time by the seller to the buyer. If there is no such time is mentioned, then within a particular time or a convenient time, both by the seller and a buyer, that with convenient time is called as the time of a delivery, and that must be within a reasonable time and a reasonable hour. Next rule relating to delivery, that is expenses of delivery, which is mentioned under section 36 subsection 5. The buyer is to bear the expenses of or incidental to receive the delivery. So at the time of receiving the goods, the buyer has to incur all type of expenses, but any expenses of putting the goods into a deliverable state is to bear by the seller. But if the goods are in a deliverable state and a certain expenses that is made, and that expenses must be borne by the seller. The next rule, that is delivery of a wrong quantity. There is no such rule relating to wrong quantity of a goods delivered. If it is delivered or delivery of a wrong quantity is made, in that case certain provision is there. So that is mentioned under section 37. It is a duty of seller to comply the order of the buyer regarding kind, quality and quantity of a goods. So during the time of the sale the seller must have to be signify or identify or must mention relating to the kind of the goods, quality of the goods and a quantity of goods. Delivery should be according to the specification made by the buyer. In case any deviation is there or in case any defective delivery, then the buyer has the right to reject the goods. So, if any problem is there relating to quality, quantity, kind, price, brand, everything, in that case the buyer has the right to reject the total goods what is sold or delivered by the seller. Then the next one is buyer not bound to return or the rejected goods. Under section 43, it is laid down that in case goods delivered to the buyer and if buyer refuses to accept the goods, he may not return the goods to the seller. So, buyer is not in all circumstances to return the rejected goods. If the goods are delivered to the buyer and there is no such acceptance by the buyer, that does not mean that he must return that goods or reject that goods. So, this intimation to the seller is sufficient that he refuses to accept. That means the buyer must show his intention to seller that he is going to not accept the goods. So, the goods must be returned. He has no right to reject that goods. He must show his intention to the seller of not accepting that goods. So, in that case there are certain rights and duties of the buyer. Right to have a delivery as per contract, which is mentioned under 31 and 32. Then the buyer has the right to reject the goods. Then right to repudiate, unless otherwise agreed, the buyer has right not to accept the delivery, therefore by installment. If there is no such terms and condition it is mentioned, so in that case the buyer is not ready to accept the goods or delivery by installment. The next one is right to notice of insurance, which is mentioned under section 39. Unless otherwise agreed, where goods are sent by the seller to the buyer by a sea route, the buyer has right to informed by the seller that he may get the goods insured. So, where the goods are dispatched through sea or there is a case of water transport, in that case the buyer has right to informed by the seller and he may get the goods insured. In that case the insurance must be made relating to that goods. And the next right of the buyer is to examine. The buyer has the right to examine all the quality, quantity, purity, brand, everything relating to the goods. Then another one is right against the seller for breach of contract. If seller makes any type of a problem relating to delivery of a goods, then the buyer has right to make any such type of a breach. Then there must be certain duties of the buyer. The first one is duty to accept the goods and pay for them in exchange for possession. So, the buyer's duty to accept and as soon as makes the payment. Second one is duty to apply for delivery, which is mentioned under section 35. Buyer duty is to apply for delivery of goods. Unless and until buyer not apply, seller is not ready to transfer that. Duty to demand delivery at a reasonable hour. So, goods must be delivered within a reasonable time or reasonable hour. Duty to accept installment delivery as well as pay for it. If the goods are delivered through installment, then buyer must have to be accept that installment delivery and relating to that part or installment pay for the price. Duty to take risks of a deterioration in course of a transit. So, when the goods are in transit, that means neither in the hands of the seller or nor in the hands of the buyer. So, in that case the buyer has to take all type of risks relating to deterioration, if any, that is made during the course of a transit period. Then duty to intimate the seller where he reject the goods. In case buyer has to reject the goods for any defect or problem arises, then buyer must have to be intimate or signify or inform to the seller relating to rejection of the goods. That is mentioned under section 43. Then duty to take delivery. So, when seller agrees or ready to deliver that, then buyer must ready to accept that. Then duty to pay price. As soon as the delivery is made, the payment must be considered, as delivery and payment both are concurrent condition. Then the next one is duty to pay damage for non acceptance. If buyer is not ready to accept, there is a case of non acceptance of goods, then in that case whatever damages is made, in that case the buyer duty is to pay the damages to the seller. So what is the remedy for breach of contract of sale? If there is any gap arises at the time of a contract of a sale, what remedies are to be taken? In case breach of contract of a sale by the buyer, the following remedies are available to the seller. That means suit for price. The seller must sue for price what the expenses or losses has been incurred, and the buyer must have to be pay for that. Then sue for damages for non acceptance of the goods. If the buyer is not accept the goods, then the seller has the right to take remedy against the buyer for damages of a non acceptance, that is mentioned under section 56. Then the third is sue for damages for repudiation of the contract by the buyer before due date. So before completion of the date or performance of the contract of a sale, if buyer has made repudiation or reject or close that contract, in that case the seller must sue for damages what have been made, and that is mentioned under section 60. Then sue for interest, not only make the price or damages of the goods, but also make whatever interest that has been incurred or suffered during the transit period or after the expiry of the time. Then what is the remedies to the buyer? In case seller makes any problem, what remedies has been taken by the buyer? First one is sue for damages for non-delivery of the goods. If seller is not ready to deliver that goods to the buyer, that is known as non-delivery, and when there is no delivery or non-delivery of goods, in that case the buyer remedy to make all type of damages or sue for damages to the seller. Then the second one is sue for specific performance. If any specific performance or terms or condition that is mentioned and that is not fulfilled by the seller, then the buyer has the right to sue for that non-performance made by the seller, and that is mentioned under section 58. Then sue for breach of warranty. So if there is any breach of warranty is made, in that case as warranty is collateral to the main purpose of the contract, so when there is breach of warranty, the buyer's remedy to take seller for necessary damages or can file a case against the seller, that is mentioned under section 59. Then the next one is sue for damages for a repudiation of the contract by the seller before due date. So same as explained before, that is relating to the seller's remedy, here that is relating to the buyer's remedy, and the remedy is before due date any problem arises, in that case the seller make remedy against the buyer and buyer also makes remedy against the seller. So the goods must have been transferred or the contract must have been specified or fulfilled within a specified period. If before that specified period everything makes any type of a problem, then either the seller or the buyer both have to make complaint or sue against each other. In the next class we will discuss rights of unpaid seller and who is an unpaid seller. So that will be discussed, and relating to that we will complete in our next class. So thank you all, have a good day ahead.